Aloha, welcome to Balanced. My name is Bill Maeda. I'm a trainer out of Honolulu, Hawaii, and this is a 30-minute full-body dumbbell strength workout. It's going to start on the floor, so make sure you're okay with getting down and getting up from that position. And if you are, all you need is a comfortable place to lie, like a mat or a soft floor, 2 dumbbells, some water, and you're set. Let's get started with a balanced breath. I'm going to ask you to just place your hands at your sides. A big inhalation, preferably through the nose on the way up, and easy exhalation on the way down. One more time. And one more. Okay, in a moment, we're going to take a little time to get you down on the floor. I'm going to give you a few tips on how to do that, all right? So if you place one hand out in front or a foot out in front or a foot behind you, place your hand on your knee. We'll have you slowly go down to the floor, okay? If that feels okay, I can have you place your hands on the floor, and then we'll just take a seat on the floor like so. I'm gonna center myself here. All right. We also wanna make sure that you can gently lie yourself back onto the floor. If you're ready to go, I'm gonna have you start with a little bit of a supine march. Supine is another word for just lying on your back facing upwards. And we're just gonna warm up our hip flexors, our legs a little bit, with just a little bit of a supine march. We're warming up for a really important exercise. It's called the pelvic lift, okay? You guys are doing great. Let's do 2 more. Now, as I go through this video, I'm gonna be lifting my head talking to you guys, all right? But I'd like you to keep your head comfortably positioned on the floor so your neck muscles aren't getting strained and you're not turning your head or your neck in a position that might not work well for you. So with a pelvic lift, we're going after all the big muscles in the back of the legs, the glutes, and even the lower back. Right now, if I'm demonstrating a fuller range of motion, but for a lot of you, it might feel a little more comfortable to just maybe tuck that tailbone under and just detach your butt from the floor, just like a half pelvic raise, okay? So just going really easy. You guys are doing great. We've got about 10 more seconds. And as always, this is a long workout, so feel free to rest at any time. There's a lot of things we're going to be doing, so you're not really going to miss out on much if you just take a break. And I invite you to drink water frequently. Okay, let's come to a seated position. Grab one of your dumbbells, and we're going to do a really nice stretch. It's called a pullover. All right, I like to have my knees elevated. Helps to flatten my back, my lower back onto the floor, right? You're just holding the heads or each end of your dumbbell, all right? If you feel there's a little space under your lower back, as long as that's not uncomfortable for you, that's fine. Another option is to try to use your abdominal muscles to tuck your tailbone under, okay? But either option is fine, and we want to work in an easy range of motion, all right? Yeah, you can take this farther. You know, I'm 54 years old, so I've got some shoulder mobility issues, and this exercise is really a great stretch to help me address some of those. All right, if you're feeling good with that, we're going to do a little variation. It's for the muscles in the back of your arms. It's called a triceps extension, all right? The muscles that we're working here they do the opposite action of your biceps. So your biceps will bend your elbows, your triceps will straighten your elbows. So if you're feeling this exercise in the back of your arms, you're doing it right. I caution you to, of course, maintain a very good grip on your belt, all right? We don't want to lose control of this bell for obvious reasons, okay? So just a few more. Got about 10 more seconds on this, and then we're gonna put the pullover together with the leg raise to really go after your midsection, all right? So let's just finish up here. Now I'm gonna ask you to lift your legs like so. And we're now going to just move them a little bit away from each other. Now, I told you that for most of this workout, I'd like you to keep your head on the floor. I like to, for this exercise, kind of a Pilates thing, I sometimes like to tuck my chin onto my chest. It tends to engage my upper ab muscles. This is also a very tough exercise. So if you find you're getting tired within 5 reps, there's nothing wrong with you. Take a break, or you can just do the pullover by itself with your head resting on the floor, or just the leg raise motion, okay? But just go real easy on that. Okay, I'm gonna invite you to use the dumbbell to help you come to a seated position. We're gonna grab your second dumbbell. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to slowly lie back with that. We're gonna rest your arms at your side, and we're gonna go into the floor curl. Now, the floor difficulty is just from the first half of the movement. Do not let the bells overfold your elbows, okay? I mean, it's okay if they do that. You'll just be getting a little extra work for your triceps muscles, okay? But we're just trying to activate the biceps muscles while they're braced against the floor. It's a different feel than a standing curl. And in general, it's a little easier. However, if your elbows are not comfortable, then you can either take a little break, or maybe we'll put a thicker mat under you for later on in the workout, okay? All right, now from here, we're gonna transition into the floor curl and press, all right? So we're just going to lower the bells, curl them till your forearms are pointing straight up towards the ceiling, and then we're gonna press them. As you press the bells, I'm gonna ask you to turn your palms facing inward towards each other. And we also wanna lower the bells slowly so they're not banging our knuckles into the floor like I just did, okay? Just a few more of these. As always, I'm always gonna encourage you. There's a lot of work being done here. You can rest at any point. We're gonna be coming back to some of these exercises later in the workout, so don't feel like you're gonna be missing anything if you need to take a break, all right? Now, we're gonna just go one more time, and I'm gonna ask you to hold the weights overhead, so now we're getting a little static strengthening of the arms, and we're gonna just use the weights to brace the upper body so that we can do a static press knee raise. Okay, now what I just did was a leg raise. That's coming next. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But right here, okay? So your knee's slightly bent. That leg raise is kind of a bad habit of mine. I do that a lot. But this is the progression. You want to start with this first, because you might find between holding these bells up and having to lift these knees, it's a pretty tough exercise in and of itself, okay? So if at any point, if you need to rest your arms, feel free to do so. Okay, the good news is in about 10 seconds, we're coming up on a nice little break. We're gonna put the bells down and we'll just remain lying on your back, but we'll do a little bit of a pelvic lift. All right, so just place your bells comfortably off to the side. All right, once again, we can either just do a supine knee raise just right here, or a little bit of a pelvic lift. You should be a little bit tired after what you just did, so just lift the hips to an easy height. Yes, I can lift them high if I want to, but right now, I just want to kind of keep things moving without burning out too much energy. Okay? Just a few more. All right. In a moment, we're going to come back to that double floor curl and press. So if your elbows were not comfortable, you have plenty of time to go and get a little something to put under your elbows to help cushion them on that. But if you're feeling okay, I'm going to ask you to grab your bells one more time. Come back here. All right. And once again, lowering the bells slowly so you're not banging your knuckles on the floor, and then pressing them up towards the ceiling, gently lowering them down, and lifting them up like so, okay? Also, don't forget to breathe. You can breathe in any pattern that feels comfortable for you, okay? But I'm gonna ask you to just be conscious of not holding your breath. Sometimes, excuse me, when you're learning a new exercise, if there's a natural tendency to just want to hold your breath, or when you're struggling or you're getting tired, okay? So now, once again, we're gonna return to the static press with a leg raise. So before we did a knee raise, now I'm gonna ask you to straighten your legs up, but we're only gonna lower them a little bit. And as soon as you try this, you're gonna know why, because just lowering them a little bit, you should feel your abs shaking. This is a demanding exercise, so feel free to rest soon after you start, because if you can get 5 or 6 reps and you need to take a break, no problem. Bring everything back to the floor, rest as you need to. Then when you're ready, you can even keep your bells here, that's fine. And just work either a limited range of motion in the straight leg position, or just lift your knees. You guys, we only have like 5 seconds left on this. You're doing great. Okay. All right, we're gonna give the abs and the legs a little bit of a break, and we're gonna go into what's called the double pullover. So you're just gonna press your bells up, and we're gonna slowly bring the bells overhead. Once again, this is a tough exercise. When you initially start, you can barely, like the bells just go a little bit right here. You start to feel a little shaking. You might feel the back of your arms getting a little tired. Don't worry about it, because that is actually normal and appropriate. I don't know how much your bells weigh, but you know, for some of these exercises, your bells are gonna feel too light. On other exercises, they're gonna feel too heavy, and it's okay if your bells feel kind of heavy. I'm starting to kind of expand into a slightly bigger movement, but I encourage you to work in the range of motion that feels good for you. Okay, so now we're gonna do a double pullover sit-up. So we're gonna use this movement, a little bit of the momentum of the bells to help you sit up, and then we're gonna use the weights being held out in front of you to control the reset position, or going back to the mat. So you're actually using the bells to have you sit up. Now, if you find this causes any distress in your lower back or anywhere else, then we can just bring the bells here and do more of a hammer position with the dumbbells, okay? Right in here would also work. But you know, this is a slightly more advanced class, so if you're feeling okay with just a slight pullover and then coming up like so, that's great. Okay, we're gonna do a double chest fly now. Gonna give the abs a little bit of a rest. Gonna ask you to just hold the bells out here, make your chest big, and just start bringing the bells out to the side. This is a more isolated utilization of your shoulder and your chest muscles. So just graduate into the range of motion and give yourself lots of time for the muscles to get used to doing this. This is not something they're used to unless you've done this before. Okay, so just a few more. You're using your chest muscles and the front of your shoulders very strongly on this. Once again, it's a tougher movement, so if you need to just take a break and hold your bells overhead and take a few deep breaths, that's fine. Otherwise, we have about 10 more seconds, and then we're gonna continue using the chest muscles, but we're gonna also use the triceps, and we're gonna return to that floor press, okay? And the floor press, once again, is just pulling the elbows down into the floor, and then pushing the bells back up. Just like doing a push-up. Right in here, okay? Breathe in, exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out, all right? And this is the last exercise we're going to be doing in this position before we stand up. So just hang in there a few more seconds, you guys. You're doing really well. You'll have lots of time to stand up, and then we're going to actually take a little bit of a water break after that. So just hang in there. We got, how about 2 more? One more time. Big breath. All right, and if you want it, we can just put the bells right here. Rock yourself to an easy seated position. Place your bells off to the side. And now we're gonna take our time, all right? We wanna just slowly, just get over to our knees. All right. And I'm gonna ask you to just spend a little time. You don't wanna stand up right away, okay? Because your blood pressure and your heart, you need time to kind of equalize from all the time you spent down here. So just spend a little time, either just from the seated position or in the kneeling position, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then when you feel ready, I'm going to have you slowly stand up. All right. Again, then we can just go in a little bit of just a slight march. I don't want to march on my mat. It's such a nice mat. All right. Just breathing, easy. Don't even think of it as a march. Just walk in place. Shake out your hands a little bit. If you want to roll your shoulders, that's fine. Okay, now here's the good news, you guys. Water break. Stop everything. I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to insist that you drink some water. You've been working really hard, okay? So make sure that you get that water, you drink. Whether you're sweaty and hot, even if you're not thirsty, I want you to drink water. I don't usually demand things, but for this one, I insist. It's for your health and your safety. It's also going to help you perform from the standing position, okay? So make sure that everything's feeling all right. Make sure the back's feeling good. Make sure the neck, everything's feeling cool. All right, and then when you're ready, I'm going to ask you to, let's grab those dumbbells again. So pick them up and come back to my position here. All right, and we're gonna start kind of easy on the doubles here. Want a nice tall chest, slight bend in your knees, activates your leg muscles, allows the blood to circulate nicely. We're gonna go into some alternating curls, all right? Just real easy. Inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. We're just using these curls to help reacclimate you to being in the standing position after lying on your back for such a long time. Okay, just a few more. Now, if your biceps are getting tired, because this is kind of a longer interval, you're welcome to just roll your shoulders back, roll your shoulders forward, or do nothing and just take a nice deep breath. If you're feeling good, keep going. All right? All right, in a few more seconds, we're going to give the arms a break. And we're just going to do a little bit of a march in place. All right, so let's bring this down. We can turn the bells in like you're holding onto a couple of little suitcases. And let's start with a walk in place before we get too ambitious and go into the march. Just keep that chest high and just walking. If you feel a little shaky, a little off balance, not a problem. We can just do a little side to side, okay? Anything that feels good. If you just want to stand here and kind of buzz out a little bit, that's fine as well, all right? Just want you to be comfortable. We have just a little bit more to go. We have about 10 minutes, okay? So just hang in there. You guys are doing great. All right. Cool. All right, now we're going to go into a double alternating press. So we're going to bring both the bells up. And don't be scared of the double part. We're just using 2 bells, but we're just going to press up like so. And then we're going to press on the other side. Okay, If initially going all the way overhead is not feeling that great, don't worry about it. You can just half press, okay? Half press. Hopefully the weight you chose, it's not too bad and allows you to get that full reach overhead. You guys are doing great. Now, this is a long interval to be doing this, okay? So once again, I'll invite you, bring them down if you need to. Roll the shoulders out, roll them forward, okay? We have about 20 seconds left, so let's just go back into a few more. Good. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You guys are doing great. Okay, how about just one more, come on. All right, great, let's bring them down. Gonna give the shoulders a little rest. Let's work those calves now, all the way down there. Remember those? Gonna have you put a slight bend in your knee. Lean forward as if there's a little bit of a wind blowing on you, and we're just gonna detach the heels. Don't worry about raising up too much, okay? We don't wanna lose balance or anything. We're just trying to activate the feet, the toes, the ankles, and the calves, and you don't really need a big giant movement to do that. Okay, we're just flashing those heels off the floor. Got the weight in hands to help us get a little bit more stress into those muscles. They're strong muscles, so having these dumbbells in there just helps them to get a little stronger. Okay, guys are almost there. We got about 10 seconds on this. All right, and finish with a nice breath. We're gonna do an alternating step back. We're gonna stretch the calves now. So you're gonna shift weight to one leg, take a step back and sink that heel down, stretching the calf out. We're gonna shift weight to the other leg, take a nice step back and sink the heel down. Now, if taking that big step that I just demonstrated is a little bit much, just take a small, easy step. Right, we have plenty of time for you to build yourself into a bigger movement if you choose to do so. We're not in a rush for anything. You can always do this same workout again tomorrow and just practice bigger movements, okay? The main thing is you always work in a range of motion that is easy for you to get into and easy for you to get out of. All right, you guys are doing great. We're almost there. All right, just stretching out those calves. You're also kind of developing and working on some good balance when you're taking this big step backwards. So a lot of good things going on here. All right, let's take a comfortable, somewhat narrow stance, the suitcase squat. We'll pretend these are little suitcases. Once again, even though it's called a squat, we're just trying to push the hips back, keep your chest nice and tall. Allow it to come forward though. Okay, as long as the back and everything else feels okay with that, it's fine. Now the good news is, guys, we're gonna go to a single dumbbell and finish this workout with just one dumbbell. This is your last double movement, okay? So you guys are doing great. If you've made it this far, I congratulate you, and the rest is gonna be fun, all right? So, or funner, because I know you guys are already having fun. So just a few more. Okay, one more time. And one more. Come on. This is our last double. Okay, great. I'll ask you to safely put one of your bells off to the side. We're gonna grab our single by the head, or the heads of the bell. Take a comfortably wide stance. Let's go into a goblet squat. The question is, why is this called a goblet squat? Well, it originally came from kettlebells, and when you hold a kettlebell upside down, or just as a demonstration, this is another way you can hold a dumbbell. It kind of, I guess, resembles a goblet. Sometimes it's also referred to as a goblin squat because maybe instructors like me mispronounce it or whatever, but that's why. All right, you guys are almost there. Just working the range of motion that's comfortable. I know you're probably a little tired. All right. How about one more? Come on. And then, okay. Comfortable stance. You don't have to be as wide. I'm gonna ask you to go into what's called a side load. You're just gonna push one bell over to the side, stretch the opposite side, bring it back to the center, bring it over to this side, lift the elbow, stretch. This is more of a loaded stretch, okay? So here, I'm gonna lift my left elbow, stretch the left side of my body, push it over to the left, lift my right elbow, stretch the right side of my body, okay? One more time. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You guys are almost there. You have about 4 minutes left. Just hang in there, you're doing great. Okay, here. And if lifting that elbow is a little bit much, not a problem. We can just kind of go side to side on this, all right? That would be a slight, just a variation for you. Okay, now we're gonna bring the bell down. You might wanna widen your stance for this next one. I'm gonna ask you to hold the bell in one hand. I'm lengthening out the left side of the body, doing a single dumbbell side bend, all right? I'm strengthening and lengthening the muscles on the left side of my body. All right, now of course, we don't want to be lopsided or crooked, so we're gonna switch to the other side. Place the hand on your head. Inhale as you go to the side. Exhale as you come back. One more time. It should just feel like a stretch. Got a little bit of weight to help guide you into the stretch. These are very strong muscles. At the same time, if for any reason this or any other exercise is uncomfortable in your back, then stop and just reevaluate. All right, you guys, let's take care of our final exercise here before we cool down. The Jefferson curl. I'm going to ask you to just hold your bell. You can either take a wide stance and just sort of like touching your toes. Let the bell guide you to the floor. If you have any lower back issues and you feel this is not something you want to do, then no problem. I'll invite you to either do a goblet squat or just another activity that you feel okay with. The other version of the Jefferson curl is going to be from a narrower stance. And you're just trying to feel a little stretch in the hamstrings and just a little stretch in some of the back muscles. But once again, go according, listen to your body and listen to your back. Make sure that everything feels good. If it doesn't feel like a stretch, then we'll have to look for something else, okay? But all right, you guys, we're almost there. All right. How about just one more? This is the last rep. Come on. And bring it up. Okay. Place your bell down. And let's just take a comfortably wide stance. I always like to finish up with a few hip circles, placing your hands on the hips. Just give a few easy rotations in one direction. Slow it down. A few easy rotations in the opposite direction. Making sure you're taking nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, if possible. All right? Cool. All right, let's roll those shoulders out. Back. Going forward. If your neck is feeling okay with this, just a little side to side. A few rotations. Go all the way around if you're feeling okay with that, but only if you're feeling good with that. All right. Okay, guys, how about a few balanced breaths to just close everything out? Hands at your sides, slight bend in your knees. If you need to widen your stance, then do so. Big inhalation up. Easy exhalation going down. One more time. If you like to bring the arms down the front, just got a different feel to it. One more time. And bring it down the front. How about one last time? Okay, you guys, that was a big workout. If you made it through that, kudos, good job. Thank you for being here with me once again. This is Balanced. We got a lot of other great courses. Please check them out. I'll see you at the next one. Much aloha.